Welcome back to the False Prophet channel. This is Brother Jacob, and on this channel, we get Islam busted and the Prophet of Islam busted on a regular basis. In today's show, we will be discussing, once again, yours truly, Brother Jacob. I went up on the Kenny Bomer show once again, and they were totally smashed, totally obliterated, totally annihilated. I mean, this by far has been the best showing since I have been on this channel, the Kenny Bomer channel, and each and every time we come out victorious because the truth cannot fail. And like always, Kenny Bomer was afraid to let me speak. He kept muting me. And in this segment, it was very apparent how Kenny was so afraid. You see, every time I go on this show, Kenny is so afraid of what I will say next. I mean, when you see what I'm about to show you, you will see that I was unfairly being muted like always. And Kenny really embarrassed himself this time. I mean, really embarrassed himself. And you will see what I mean by the time we get to the end of this video. Kenny Bomer, he treated me, like always, the same way Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawa did Christian Prince when Christian Prince called in to the Muhammad Hijab platform, when he totally crushed and annihilated the Muslims on their platform. So likewise, your brother Jacob, he did the same thing. And this is what I noticed. Whenever I go on this show, Kenny, whenever I'm about to make a huge point, Kenny gets so afraid because his whole show is set up like this. His whole show is rigged, like I said before. His purpose is to make Islam look like it's flawless, like it doesn't have any contradictions, like Christianity is completely wrong, and anything that Christians say that's adverse to what he is saying is absolutely wrong. He wants you to believe that we don't have any proof. He wants you to believe that we are hating on Islam. He wants you to believe that our points of logic concerning Islam, he wants you to believe that it's flawed. Even if we show hadiths, even if we go into the Quran, even if we use the tafsirs and show clear contradictions, clear fallacies, Kenny, Kareem, Mustafa, they are still going to say something is wrong with what you're saying and it's just a lie. And they only say it because it doesn't fit their agenda. But their agenda is right in line with what the Quran says. Because the Quran says that you shouldn't ask questions because too many questions will lead your heart away from Islam. So that's what Kenny is betting on. He's betting on the people who come on his panel. He ensures that they don't ask too many touchy questions, because there were several times while I was on this show that I was about to present some hardcore facts and Kenny would not allow me to do it. He came up with every excuse in the world and he was just afraid. So let's hit the play button and I will break down my time on the Kenny Bomer show, the little time that he did allow me to speak. Thanks be to God, when I opened up my mouth, I caused a lot of damage to the devil's kingdom. So let's press play.
Which is the Torah, which is the Quran. So they even made a comparison to say after.
The voice that you hear speaking, that's Mustafa. Now you will see in this video, whenever I'm about to make huge points, you will see him coming in, speaking and shouting. He does that every time. See, Kenny Bomer's show is made up like this. They have the Mustafa character. The Mustafa character, he does a lot of talking. He just chitter and chatter. And his purpose on the show, when I show up, his purpose is to make sure that he blocks anything that I say when I'm about to drop a truth bomb that he knows about to tear up the whole panel. So whenever that's about to occur, you'll see Mustafa, he'll start blurting in, and Kenny will allow him to do it. Then the other character on the show is the guy by the name Kareem. Kareem, his character is pretty much, he comes off like he's a soft-spoken person. He comes off like he's reasonable and he wants to give Brother Jacob a chance. But really, he is just a wolf in sheep's clothing, as you will see, because he's soft-spoken, but at the same time, he can't go outside the lines of the program. He has to stick with the script that Kenny writes. And he has to stick with the script that Mustafa writes. And from the look of things, Mustafa is the one that's in control, because whatever he says, Kenny goes along with it. That's how the show is set up. So let's press play and let's see how long Mustafa is going to speak, because I really want to get past this part, but I don't want to fast forward too far and have to end up, keep going up and down. So let's press play.
The scriptures of Moses. They didn't say after the scriptures of Isa, because that wouldn't have been in a book form. And also, if you read, for example, chapter 17 of the Quran, just an example, there's many other chapters.
Let's get past that part. That's filler. Let's get past that. That's 2:10:48. So
now is definitely not the inspired text. They may have
still talking us.
I said to him.
Okay, Kareem asked if it would be fine with you.
Okay, this is where I come in, so let's rewind back a little bit, because Kareem asked me a question.
Maybe he froze. Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, I can hear you.
Froze up. Can you repeat? It froze up. Can he repeat what he said? The screen froze.
Brother Kenny, try to relay. If you heard him, relay what I said to him.
Okay, Kareem asked if it would be fine with you if you engage in a civil, moderated debate or discussion.
Well, come on, Kenny. I've been agreed to that. I agreed to that with Mustafa, and he said he wouldn't do it. He blasphemed the Holy Spirit. He said I wasn't on his level. He called me stupid, all type of names. So let's not act like I haven't already accepted that request. So yes, I will be willing.
Actually,
will be willing.
Okay, you will be willing.
I will be willing.
Okay.
Yes, I've been saying that. I've been said that.
Listen.
So what you saw me do on that part, Kenny was putting it out like I was not cooperating from the beginning ever since I've been appearing on this platform, the Kenny Bomer platform. So I said what I said just to make things clear, so it won't seem like I haven't already tried to have a formal debate. Like I said, I tried to have a formal debate with the Mustafa character, but he turned it down. Out of fear, he turned it down. So I just had to say that part to set the record straight, because I know that I have limited time to speak whenever I'm on the Kenny platform, because he's afraid of the next thing I'm going to say. He's constantly afraid of the next thing I'm going to say, as you will see. So whenever I'm given the opportunity to speak, I make sure that my words have value to them. Unlike Kareem, he says a lot of words, but he makes no points. So I try to use the limited time that they give me to the best of my ability. Okay, so that's why I had to set the record straight when he was asking me, would I debate Kareem?
Let's keep it real now.
Let's keep it real and say this: that you've started off on the wrong. Answering the brother and say yes, I will. You've instead chosen to insult Brother Mustafa. And
I didn't insult anybody.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Now you see Kenny lied on me. He said I insulted Mustafa just for saying that I tried to debate Mustafa and Mustafa turned me down. But Kenny said that was an insult. You heard it. I heard it. You be the judge. Was that an insult, what I said? Let's continue.
I told you I've already been stated that. So I'm just letting the record be straight. So when someone sees that, it won't be like I wasn't doing that in the beginning. I've already been stated that.
Okay, but then
I even challenged Mustafa and he turned me down.
But then you insulted Mustafa in the process. So
I insulted Mustafa. I got a video, Kenny, that I'm about to post where I got your panel insulting me for 20 minutes straight, and I even screenshotted the comment you left where you said you agreed that they was wrong in the way they treated me.
Now, Kenny accused me of insulting Mustafa. You can go back on Kenny Bomer's show, and like I said, I have the evidence, and I'm going to upload the evidence. The last time I was on the Kenny Bomer show, his panel, they made racial slurs against me. They called me a gorilla. They was attacking my character. They was diverting from the subject matter at hand. Kenny even admitted that his panel did not treat me correctly. And I'm about to show you the screenshot right now to get him busted. So let's show you the screenshot. Right before you, as you see, that's considered this TV. Look what Kenny said to me. He said, I read about what you claim happened to you last night. I don't think their approach was correct. I'll repeat. I don't think their approach was correct. That says it all. But you have some nerve to complain when you made 2-hour-long videos doing the same thing and worse, which is a lie. You say it's wrong when they do it, but you have done it all this time. That's a lie. Because first of all, you know how I know he's lying? Because if that was the case, you would see it in his videos. Second of all, Kenny won't even allow me to barely even speak to Mustafa. So he is lying. Kenny would never allow me to disrespect Mustafa or anybody on his panel without muting me. He would mute me instantly. So that proves he is lying. Third of all, when I make my 2-hour videos, I am responding to the things that they say about me. I don't make my videos slandering anyone because that's not my purpose. I don't do the slander thing like Mustafa does and like Kenny does. Okay? So that proves he was lying. So Kenny is a liar. And as you see before you, that's considered this TV. And you see my name, the false prophet, underneath. And you see a little bit of what I wrote. I wrote, you are a hypocrite, Kenny. On my videos, I expose the lies of. So as you see, Kenny agreed with me, and you see it. He says, I don't think their approach was correct. So he admitted that I was right, that their approach was not correct, and they were slandering me. So let's get back to the video.
Me. I even screenshotted it. So don't even try it, Kenny.
Okay,
Yes,
let's deal with that. Let's deal with that afterward. Let's get it.
Yes, really. I screenshotted it. Yes, really, Kenny. Yes, really. And you just saw it. Yes, really.
To this discussion. First question. Let's start from the top down. What is your biggest, if you had to pick your biggest evidence against Islam that makes you yourself not able to accept Islam as a way of life for people? What's your biggest? Let's start from the top down. Let's try to dissect some of these issues. And please, I don't want to do your loaded question that you have already. I'm sure you have something. We'll do it another day, no problem. But let's just start from the top down. What's your biggest issue? If you had to pick the biggest issue for you against Islam, let's start from the top down.
So as you see, Kareem is asking me, what is my biggest issue about Islam? And then he is including his preconceived ideas of what he think I'm going to say. Okay? And we're going to show a hadith where his prophet said that he is not supposed to do that. He is not supposed to assume things. And we are going to show the hadith that gets him busted and which shows that he did something terrible in the sight of Allah by assuming something that he didn't know factually. So we're going to get him busted on that. And as you saw him doing, he was trying to think for me or trying to be my puppet master. Okay?
All right. I want to read my biggest issue right now. I want to read a hadith that your prophet quoted. And the last time I was on your show, Kenny said that I was a liar. He said I was lying.
So you had the biggest issue ready to go. That's what you came with. Are you telling us that you just knew I would ask you this and now you don't just have a hadith, a random hadith you just chose. This is your biggest issue against Islam. Is that what you're claiming?
Twice he's referred to something that happened.
So as you see, he's doubting what I'm saying. He's telling me things as if he can think for me. As you see, this is the Muslim way of doing things. They are bullies. They like to bully you. They are so unprofessional. It's nothing professional about this Kenny Bomer platform whatsoever. I'm telling him what my biggest issue is. He asked me a question. What he was supposed to do was sit back and listen to what I had to say. You don't ask somebody something and then when they respond, you tell them that they are not right. Then what was the purpose for you asking me the question if you already knew the answer? Then you may as well speak for me and answer the questions for me. What's the reason for even asking me a question if you're going to think for me?
Yesterday. Here we are here and now today, and you're bringing up yesterday. Why? Just answer the brother's question, and let's proceed. We don't need to talk about what happened yesterday.
I want to have a
Yes, we can talk about what happened yesterday if what happened yesterday fits into the question that he asked me. It's nothing wrong with that. Because the other time I was on your show, I wasn't allowed to finish because you, the scaredy cat, Kenny, is always quick to mute me. So I have to take advantage of the time that I am given so I can kill two birds with one stone. So if he asks me a question, which allows me to elaborate on something that you cut me off the last time I was trying to explain on your show, then I'm going to take the time that's allotted to me to cover two issues at once and at the same time still answer his question. It's called killing two birds with one stone. And you wouldn't have to worry about me bringing up anything from the past if you would allow me to speak when you would invite me to your show. But because you are so afraid of what Brother Jacob has to say, Brother Jacob ends up having to go back and clear things up. That's the purpose of communicating, right? To make sure your point is heard, correct? Okay, then.
real discussion, not a discussion you already thought how it would go and what I'm going to say and what you're going to say back. Let's be real. What's your biggest issue about Islam?
I'm being real. If you allow me to speak, you can't think for me, man. I'm not a part of your religion, so you can't use Sharia tactics on me. Let me talk for myself. I can talk for myself. I know what my biggest issue is, and I want to read my biggest issue right now. So let me do it.
Explain my Sharia tactics, if you will. Just elaborate. What do you mean by that? I'm curious.
Now you're diverting and wasting time.
You said a very peculiar phrase that I've never heard, so I'm willing to listen to what you mean by that. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let me read.
Now, when I said something about the Sharia tactics, all of a sudden then is he willing to listen. But he wasn't willing to listen when I was ready to answer his question. When I was ready to answer his question, he took it upon himself to think for me. Do you see the inconsistency? Now, all of a sudden, he was ready to answer my question. I mean, ready to listen to me. But beforehand, when I was about to answer his question, he kept saying, don't tell me don't tell me something you had pre-arranged in your mind, this, and the other, trying to coach what I say, trying to use mind control. And that's why I said Sharia, because that's exactly what he was trying to do. Implement his Islamic way of thinking upon me. And like I said to him, I'm not a part of your religion.
Handle business, and we can do that later. You ask me a question, I want to address the question. Okay?
I have a feeling you're just saying things that are coming to your mind without thinking before you speak, but proceed.
You see, he did it again. He did it again. Where are these feelings coming from? Are they coming from Allah?
Okay, so that's a slight insult, but it's all good. Now, I'm about to read the hadith.
That's really how I feel, because you can't even define a particular term you use that I've never heard in my life. You can't even make it clear what you mean by my Sharia tactics. Let's have a civil discussion, and it makes sense for me to go for your biggest issue you got with Islam, then go to a smaller issue that's not going to change anything, whether I win or I lose in a discussion. So let's go to the biggest. All of that is logical, but you call it.
Now, you see how this guy is doing all of this extra talking? He's so verbose and loquacious. He's doing all of this talking because he is just trying to buy time. Basically, I break it down like this. It's almost like he can tell that he's about to go to, he can tell he's about to go to the shooting gallery. Okay? He's blindfolded. He feels like he is about to get scholastically executed by me and what I'm about to say. So what he's doing, he's stalling by being very wordy and verbose just to stall from having to face the embarrassment that I'm about to give him. And you will see it as we continue. That's all he's doing.
Sharia tactics. What do you mean by that?
You're doing the same thing.
Define what you're saying at this point.
Brother, let's find out what his issue is by the hadith. Go on.
Let me say what I want to say. Let me say what I want to say. Let me answer your question. You can't put words in my mouth.
Okay, this.
Now you heard a Mustafa blasphemer. He came in and said, Brother, let's just hear what he has to say about the hadith. Let's just see what he has to say about the hadith. So we can just hear what he has to say. But as soon as I started to quote the hadith, you will see Mustafa blurt in. The same one saying, let's wait to see what he have to say, is the same one who is going to blurt in. Just wait and see.
I'm about to read that. Trying to put words in your mouth.
Let me read.
No one's put their hand up and said, Devin say this, Devin say that. No one's done that. No one's done that.
All right, Kenny, can you please tell me, Mustafa?
Hold on, let's clarify something. Because literally no one has told you to say anything. No one's trying to tell you what to say. No one's trying to dictate what to say. We're not trying to puppetize you and say, Devin say.
We can all see that they are. Even though Kenny's saying they not, we can all see that Kareem was trying to persuade me to speak in a way that he wanted me to speak. We can all see what was taking place.
Yes, now say that. No, you're on a string now. Devin say this. No one's done that. So stop making that proclamation. No one said that. No one's trying to tell you what to say. The brother asked you a simple question. and you have the opportunity to answer it. What is your greatest contention? What is your greatest problem? What is your greatest fear, or whatever you want to call it, about Islam? What is it?
And he said hadith. So read the hadith.
All right. And before I read Kenny, can you please tell me?
Crying out loud, just read the hadith, man. Just read it.
Read the hadith.
No.
Don't.
The reason why I'm saying is
Crying out loud.
Now, what I was telling Kenny was, as you see, even when I'm trying to tell him, you can still hear Mustafa speaking in the background. The Bible says to do everything decently and in order. So the only thing I was trying to do was to get some type of order within the dialogue discussion that we were having, because Mustafa has no self-control. So only thing I was pleading was that Kenny would get his panel under control. Simple as that.
Talk
Is
about
this between me and Kareem? Isn't it between me and Kareem?
Crying out
All
loud.
right, I'm about to read it.
Go,
Okay,
go.
I'm about to read it.
Now
I'm about to read it.
I'm telling you, read the
Now
hadith.
I'm reading it. I'm about to read. Now you don't want me to read. Now you don't want me to read.
Read it.
Narrated Ali. Narrated Ali. I heard the prophet saying,
Yeah.
in the last days,
Mm.
there will appear young people
Mm.
with foolish thoughts and ideas. They will give good talks, but they will go out of Islam as an arrow goes out of its game.
Yeah, I know the
Their
hadith.
faith will not
Brother
exceed
Kenny, mute
their
him,
good.
please, because he's
I know
lying.
the
This
hadith.
isn't
I
his
know the
greatest
hadith.
contention about
I
Islam.
know
Just
that-
mute him for a second, please. We're not here.
Now you see, this guy Kareem, Kenny just said nobody is trying to control you. Nobody is trying to put you on strings like you are their puppet. But then Kareem comes in and says that what I was reading was not my greatest contention against Islam. How is this guy? He don't know me. He don't know what's in my mind. How does this guy, how does he have the audacity to say what my greatest contention is or not? As soon as I started to read, they saw the bomb that was about to drop. And I'm going to tell you why they muted me. Because the hadith, and we're going to show you later, the hadith that I was reading was about to get Kenny Bomer busted from something that he claimed to be true last time I was on his show. And that claim was that there is no, that the penalty for apostasy is not death, and that the only time that you can get the death penalty for apostasy is during the time of war. And Kenny Bomer is always trying to claim that Islam is this religion of peace and that it's not about violence. But the hadith that I was about to read was about to drop the bomb on them, and it was going to show that Islam is about violence from something that their prophet said. They knew what I was about to read. Mustafa knew what I was about to read, and that's why Mustafa came in, and that's why Kareem was like, mute him, because they have to safeguard Islam, because they are practicing taqiyya. But Brother Jacob comes on the show, and he is getting them exposed.
To play those games. Mute him for a second.
You are a liar. You are
Oh, man.
That's not the greatest contention. That's the original hadith that you wanted to read to begin with. That
He said that's not my greatest contention. When my greatest contention against Islam is the fact that Islam is a threat to humanity. And the hadith that I was about to read was going to show that Islam is a threat to humanity and that it is a very violent religion. That is my greatest contention about Islam. So he can't tell me that I'm wrong. So Kenny Bomer is lying And we're going to show you the hadith where he is not supposed to make assumptions without absolute 100% facts. We're going to show how by him doing that, by Mustafa doing that, and by Kareem doing that, that they did a very terrible thing in the sight of Allah. Because they cannot say that they have 100% fact that what I said was not my greatest contention. Allah did not tell them that. The angel Jibril did not tell them that. They don't have no Holy Spirit inside of them. So the Holy Spirit didn't tell them that. So where are they getting the evidence from that what I was about to say was not my greatest contention against Islam?
You are a liar. That's what you're going to read to begin with. That's not your greatest contention. It's impossible for that to be your greatest problem.
He said I'm lying. So this is what I'm going to ask Kenny. What is your proof that I am lying? Did Jibril come down and tell you that I was lying? Did Allah whisper in your ear and say that I was lying? Did the shaitan that commands Muhammad to do good, like he said in that hadith, did that shaitan, did it come into your ear and tell you, Kenny, that I was lying? Where are you getting this proof from, Kenny, that I am lying?
This one, impossible. Go ahead, brother.
And notice, people, me personally, I'm treating him now like a little brother. No hate towards him at all, but I have to spank him now because he's getting
He's treating me like a little brother, and I'm older than this guy.
Out of control. And
No,
so
Kareem,
now
brother
we've
Kareem.
seen how he...
Sorry, Brother Kareem, just to stop you there, brother. Sorry about that. I just want to say, hold on. Am I on the wrong show, Brother Kareem and Brother Kenny? Did he say his biggest issue was this hadith? I've heard this hadith before he knew what Christianity was. I've read this. I've heard this hadith more than he had hot dinners. I know that I've read commentaries behind this hadith.
Notice all of the diversion that they are doing. You have Mustafa speaking. You have Kareem speaking. You have Kenny saying I'm a liar. They doing all of this because they are afraid of what I was about to say. And another thing it highlights? It highlights that they don't stand behind everything that their prophet says. And it highlights that they are ashamed of what their prophet says. It also highlights that certain things that their prophets say, they rather keep quiet about it. They don't want to put it on their panel because they know that 9 times out of 10, if Brother Jacob is about to read a hadith that our prophet said, it's not going to turn out good for us. That's why they muted me, because it's just, the fact is they are afraid of what Jacob has to say.
I've read articles written like probably more bigger than his Bible on this hadith. Literally, I'm not joking. I've read it. I've just months ago I read it.
And notice,
I'm like, what? That's the biggest issue.
and notice this, Brother Mustafa and Brother Kareem. Look what David Wood's argument where in his last video, in his latest
Yeah. Obviously, yeah.
So now what you see them doing, instead of letting me read the hadith that I was about to read, they're using all of these ad hominems, all of these little diversion tactics, trying to use, comedy to get away from allowing me to read what I said, what I had to read. It don't matter if David Wood did a video about what I was going to read. They didn't know what I was about to read. It don't matter if David Wood was about to do a video about it. It don't matter if Sam Shamoon was about to do a video about it. It don't matter if Christian Prince said or read that same hadith. What does that have to do with me saying that the hadith that I was about to read was my biggest contention? I could say that they quote something that another Muslim quoted. Does that make what they said that another Muslim said, does that make it invalid? So what if another Christian or another apologists. So what if they raised up the same issue? So what? Are they saying that two people can't have the same contention about the same thing? It's crazy. But let's continue.
Video. Once again,
Oh gosh.
in his last video, I'm gonna say it again. David Wood argument in his last video.
Oh my gosh.
Not a
I
puppet.
can't believe that.
What a
No,
puppet.
but look, he copied CP anyway. He's copying David, but this hadith is nothing new that he's pulling out. I can't believe he's.
See, their whole point is they don't want me to read. What does the hadith being new or not new? The Quran is not new. Last I checked, the Quran came out 1400 years ago. If I quote a verse from the Quran that you heard before, are you going to say, this verse is not new, we heard this before? I don't see the point that they are trying to make. The thing is, they just trying to stall time because they can feel themselves getting marched in front of the shooting gallery, and they are trying their best to stall the time because they know that they were about to be scholastically executed. So they was trying to stall their time to laugh because they knew that sooner or later they won't be able to laugh anymore, because they knew and they could feel that the tables were turning. So they was just trying to get their little laughs out while they still had the chance. That's all they were doing.
Just the arrows come and shooting. I'm like, I've heard this hadith. Remember, Kenny, we used to catch people like Davis and when he used to say hadith, I said, I've heard that already. I've heard that already. It's like
That's like me saying, I heard it already when a Muslim says, show me where Jesus says that he is God in the Bible. Show me where Jesus says that he is God. I've heard people on Kenny's panel say that before. What does that have to do with the fact that what I was about to say was my biggest contention? And who are they to tell me that it wasn't? Like I said, I want one of them to tell us whether or not Allah told them what my biggest contention was or not. Where are they getting this proof from? Because again, they don't have no Holy Spirit inside of them. So they just going by their feelings. Last I checked, your feelings does not prove something to be right or wrong. Facts is what proves something to be right or wrong.
what you're talking about.
David Wood argument
Oh,
in his
God.
latest video.
You know what? I don't even think Brother Kareem is worth him having on the show, bro. Wallahi, you're wasting your precious time. You know what? We can hear nasiha from you. You are that learned, mashallah. You can give us nasiha on your own. You don't need this freak over here, bro.
Now you see Mustafa. What I tell you about Mustafa. Mustafa is a character on the show. He's trying to block the truth. These people are demonic, man. I'm trying to tell y'all. These people, they operate just like the devil. They are being used like the devil, just like Muhammad was used by the devil to spread the lies of Islam. And these men on this panel, they are agents of Satan. Whenever somebody is trying to speak the truth, and a person like Mustafa, especially, who blasphemed the Holy Spirit, he don't want me to get the truth out. So now what he was doing, as you heard him say, Kareem, you shouldn't even debate him because he's not even worth your time. He's trying to get me kicked off the show because it's like this with Mustafa. He would rather me not say it and get kicked off the show so they can talk behind my back. But the only problem with that is that's not proving anything. Anybody can create a panel where you have 6 or 7 Muslims agreeing with everything they say. That's not proving anything. You prove something, whether it's right or wrong, when it is put under fire. You don't know how much you can take. You can train boxing all you want. You can think you so good in the gym, hitting the punching bag. Your coaches can be telling you you're the best boxer alive. You're the best boxer to ever lace up some gloves. But until you actually get in a ring with another boxer, you don't know how good you are. So their show means nothing if they don't have no one who can question what they believe in. Otherwise, you just have a dictatorship. What kind of religion is that? Our Bible says that you can prove God and see if he won't show up. Even the Quran says that who can, if someone can write a verse that's equal to the Quran. But as soon as you try to do that, guess what the Muslims will do? They'll have you executed. So what they're trying to do is nothing but, be dictators. And like I said, anybody can agree with each other for 3 hours straight. Who want to sit and listen to that?
Just Kenny, you know what, Kenny, get him out the show and let him be on there and put the hadiths down, and we'll just listen to you and Kareem. It's better off.
But the thing is that I actually listen to him, and I listen more to what he's not saying. And even at one point in one of his videos, he said he gave me a point. And so I think that out of all people,
when I put that C up, I was trying to use sign language to say cowards, because they was being cowards. Mustafa was being a coward. He don't want me to say what I was going to say because he knows it's about to get them busted.
well, if anyone would eventually become a friend, I think we probably can. So I'm trying to extend this to him. I know we're going to go back and forth. We're going to make it exciting. That's fine. But let's deal with a real issue, because I don't like the state. I don't have time to stage a debate and just go with something that you had already pre-made. Let's just, as they say, let's just freestyle in terms of, I'm gonna ask you a question and you just give me what's really in your heart, and let's just discuss what's your biggest, if you had to choose the biggest issue that you would say makes Islam false, what is that? Let's go to that without having anything pre-prepared. Let's just have a real discussion, a friendly discussion. Trust me, I was a non-Muslim at one time too. So, I understand you have no reason to concede to anything we're saying, and I don't expect.
Notice he just contradicted himself. He said he was a non-Muslim at one time, but they'll tell you that everybody is born a Muslim. But he just said he was a non-Muslim at one time. But anyway, as you see, I left the screen for a moment. Then I went and got a marker, and I wrote on the back of a sheet of paper, I wrote cowards. Since they were muting me, I wrote cowards so everybody could see how they were trying to evade me.
But I really want to know something real. It's one thing to put on a show, but let's just do it from the heart, something right off the cuff. What's your biggest, if you had to choose? If someone asked you in the street.
He keep asking me, he wanted to know. When I tried to tell him, he rejected what I was about to say. So how can you win with a person like this?
What's your biggest issue with Islam?
One thing I noticed, every time I'm about to drop a bomb, Mustafa comes in and he blocks it.
He just can't answer a question without just yelling and all that, right? Simple questions are just flying right over his head. Can you answer a simple question?
Guys, I'm just going to post this now. Yeah, this is what David Wood's little thing that he borrowed from 2 days ago. So I'll just post the link.
He said I borrowed something from David Wood. When the hadith that I was bringing up, I got it from the Muslim sources. Just because another person may obtain something from the same Muslim sources doesn't mean you got it from them. They got it from the same place I got it from. So that little straw man argument was just a diversion. Everybody can see through this. Everybody can see what Kenny is doing. Everybody can see what Mustafa was doing. Everybody can see clearly what Kareem was doing. These are nothing but three men acting like little girls. That's all they were, like three men acting like little cowards. The three Muslim cowards.
Put it on, guys, on the Facebook. Yeah, this is what he did. He basically took David Wood. This is the David. Sorry, it's on the live chat. I can't put it on there for some reason, but I'll put it on the live chat. Brothers can put it from live to the other. It's actually David Wood's.
And it's funny how he can make so much fun of, he just got this from David Wood, but he don't want me to read it. That shows you clear as day that they don't want it to be read because they are ashamed of what their prophet said. So how can they even call themselves Muslims, but they don't stand behind what their prophet taught? They are afraid. They were afraid to let me to read the hadith.
You know what? I am embarrassed. Wallahi, you know what it is, brothers? With all due respect to him and to you, Brother Kenny, thank you for your show, Brother Kenny, and Brother Kareem as well. And Faizu, are you here still? Is Faizu here?
Yeah, absolutely, boss.
Yeah, Brother Faizu, this
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
is using David Wood's argument. I just posted the link, David Wood's hadith that he just done 2 days ago, and he said he has a big issue with Islam.
Wood's video.
Yeah.
Subhanallah.
Oh gosh.
Brilliant, Mike. Round of applause, blood. Round of applause.
Let's give him another shot. So he thinks we're cowards. I don't know why he would think we're cowards. What do we have to be cowards about?
The brother, the thing that's mystifying me, wallahi, I swear by Allah, this is mystifying me, that he talks on his show. He's talking and talking. He can't stop. He's just on the roll. But you ask him a simple question, and wallahi, I'm not trying to say anything wrong, but I'm really not understanding why you can't answer. And that's, please, continue.
Okay, Devin, go ahead.
All right. Now, notice how all of y'all accuse me that I got something from David Wood when I didn't. I've been knew about what I was about to read. Now, because you did that and accused me, hold up, you speaking while I'm speaking. Because all of y'all did that and accused me of doing something that I did not do, you have did a sinful thing in the sight of Allah, because it's a hadith that says that none of you should say of a thing like you know when you really don't know, because you are telling Allah something that he does not know. So all of y'all have
Say
did a sinful
that again
sight
by English.
before the
Say
eyes
that
of
again.
Allah.
Say that again by English. Say that in English. Say that again in English. I didn't understand the word you said. Say that again by. Listen, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Listen, calm down. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. Calm down. Calm down, son. Take a breath. Your Holy Ghost.
Brother Devin,
Your Holy
Brother
Ghost.
Devin, there's only one thing. Brother Devin, let me say something. There's only.
You see how they just speaking over me? You see how Mustafa's speaking over me? You see how Kenny just sitting back and allowing it to take place? Did you see the screenshot that Kenny said he agreed that they didn't act correctly, but yet he is a hypocrite because he's still allowing the same blurting out over when I'm speaking to take place? Everybody can see it. Only thing I'm trying to do is speak. But as you see, I'm not allotted the same amount of time. They trying to bully me into being a little simpleton. Basically, I'm going to tell you it's like this. There's another Christian, a fake Christian who doesn't even believe that Jesus is God, who they invite on their panel. They want me to be a little pussyfoot like the other so-called Christian who they bring upon their platform. They want me to be a little pussyfoot like the atheist girl who they invite to their platform. But because they can't break me to submit to their lies and to submit to their Sharia form of how to hold a panel, it makes them very upset. That's what it all boils down to. They can't break me and they can't make me submit, and they cannot see how this Jacob always have a way to counter us. He always comes with something like a truth bomb. That's all it boils down to. And that's why Kenny is always afraid and on the edge of his seat, because he never knows what next is coming out of the mouth of Brother Jacob that will destroy Islam and embarrass him on his panel. Now, I would like to show you the hadith that I was speaking of, when their prophet said that they are not supposed to say about a thing as if they know it to be a fact. Because when they do that, they do a very terrible thing in the sight of Allah. So let's go to that right now. And this is Ibn Abbas who says it. Ibn Abbas said, none of you should say about a thing which he does not know. Allah knows it. When Allah may know that it is other than what he said, and thus he tries to teach Allah what he does not know. That is something terrible in Allah's sight. So basically what they did, they tried to say that they knew something about me that they didn't know. So by them doing that, and like I asked of them, where are they getting the information that I was saying something, that I was about to say something that wasn't already on my mind? They trying to say I got something from David Wood. They trying to say that, this is not the contention that I had with Islam. So when they said that, then they are accusing Allah of not knowing something that he knew. And furthermore, they don't have no proof that what I was saying was not my biggest contention to Islam. And if they do, I ask them to show the proof. Did Allah tell them that? Did the angel Jibril tell them that? Did the shaitan that commanded Muhammad to do good, did that shaitan tell them that? So where are they getting this information from? So as you see, not only are they showing how they are cowards, they also did something terrible in Allah's sight. So let's go back to the video.
Only one thing in the world, that if you ask it a question and it gives you an answer outside of the question you asked it, that's a computer. When you're speaking, you're calling service and they ask you, I'm asking you a question and it seems that you cannot answer a new question, but you can only talk about things that I'm really trying to understand why you can't say what's your biggest issue with Islam. Or you've thought about it.
No, let me speak. Every time I come on this show, as soon as I'm about to say something, and Kenny know I'll be about to say something that he don't
like right now because you're yelling.
But brother Kenny, brother Jacob, if you started by like this, you said the answer to his question.
He says I'm yelling. My voice is no louder in that mic, no louder than Kareem's voice, who has a microphone. He's actually speaking through a mic. I don't even have a mic. My voice is no louder than Mustafa's voice. My voice is no louder than Kenny's voice. My voice is no louder than anybody's voice on that panel. I don't even have a mic. So as you see, it's just excuse after excuse after excuse.
And my most contentious thing about Islam is such and such. No one would mute you. We literally be hanging on your every word. People want to know what you're going to say, and we're all, I'm sure, everyone listening is mystified and totally baffled that you cannot answer a direct question as though you're an automated, machine that we're speaking that can't answer.
Now notice how he said I was speaking like I was an automated machine. I'm going to leave the link to this very show. Earlier in this very show, Kenny said, it was either Kenny or Mustafa, one of them had said that the angels don't have a free will. Okay? Now watch, I'm going to say something addressing what they said about the angels not having a free will. So Kareem was saying that I'm like a machine or a robot or something, but yet the angels of Allah are robots. Anything that doesn't have a free will is a robot. That's what a robot is. It operates off programming. Like Kareem was saying, I'm acting like some automated program, something like whatever, a cyborg, as he said. So angels of Allah are cyborgs. So Kareem is making it so that a cyborg is a bad thing. Okay? So let's see what he has to say about the cyborg angels when I get him busted.
Outside of what you've been programmed to say. So what is going on, brother?
And then he uses a, he said that he said, I have a hadith. I can't believe that, honestly. I still find it difficult to believe. He has a hadith. Kenny, listen to this, brother Kenny and brother Kareem. So his issue was a hadith that he took from David Wood. He probably saw today. He didn't say yesterday. I don't know if he saw it yesterday, but he that's his issue. And subhanallah, you know what? I'm actually baffled that he literally said, I have an issue with a hadith.
I guess he thinks it's just we're supposed to expect that it's just a coincidence that he happened to use the same argument that David Wood used in his last video.
Yeah,
it's just a coincidence. I mean,
David Wood used a 6-minute video, and he all of a sudden just got this hadith, and he had an issue.
Just a bunch of talking and talking. I didn't even want this video to be as long as it is, but they doing so much speaking without making any points. All of this is just diversion. As you see, these Muslims are just cowards. They cowards.
With the hadith.
Brother Mustafa, give him an example. What's your biggest dalil, your biggest evidence against Christianity?
Let's fast forward. It's just too much fluff talk every time you come on the Kenny Bomer's panel.
That's why Kenny and Mustafa knows that as
So what exactly do they have to prove that they've got what they have is the truth? The Torah itself doesn't even go back to the time of Moses. The earliest we have is 2000 BCE. That's a 1200-year gap. So what can they? There's nothing that he can convince me with.
And to the audience, Mustafa, barakallahu feekum, he can go on for days like that, just going on, rambling on about things he finds. Anyone could do this. So I'm interested. I beg of you, Brother Devin, to answer this question so we can get on to what's your biggest thing. The thing that makes your blood boil the most. If it's Kenny, let's talk about Kenny. Kenny is your biggest thing about Islam. Anything. Just say anything. Literally, brother. Go ahead.
all right, notice what you just said. You said just say anything. Now when I say anything, you're gonna Kenny gonna hit the mute button.
Truthful.
I already know it.
Something truthful, of course.
The show is rigged. The show is rigged. The show is rigged. You don't want me to say what I was about to say, and even that dude with the glasses, he knows that I got the truth. That dude with the little mouthpiece.
So instead of giving us the answer, you're complaining about
look
what?
at his face. That dude that have the headphones on, he knows if I'm allowed to speak, it's over with. That's why Kenny and Mustafa knows it as well. He knows it. So everybody that's listening, they are afraid.
Oh my!
They are
This is unreal. Give him one more shot. I gotta get this out of him. I will not be able to sleep.
I'm actually
Knowing this man has a YouTube channel, knowing this man has a YouTube channel that people are watching, and he literally cannot answer what.
Yes, people are watching my YouTube channel. And yes, people are watching that for the last 30 minutes, all of you on that panel have been acting like cowards and not allowing me to speak. I could have been said what I had to say, but because they hesitate so much and because they are so afraid of what I had to say, the duration of the video becomes longer than what it really has to be. Instead of them just letting me read what I had to say. But no, they didn't want to do that because Kenny knows and Mustafa knew that if I was given the chance to say what I had to say, that they would have been busted and they wouldn't have anything to say in response to what I had to say.
What is his biggest contention with Islam? I won't be able to sleep. I'm that type of person where I ponder on things, and it's not gonna be so give him one more chance. And Brother Devin, don't tell us something you've brought here. Just literally tell us something, anything. You could say Tawheed.
He's telling me, he's giving me the rules of engagement. He's telling me how to speak. If something that I brought to say was something that was my biggest contention, then how is he going to tell me what not to say or not to say? As you see, he may as well be speaking for me. Why is he asking me something, but when I attempt to answer him, he shuts me down and Kenny mutes me? It's ridiculous.
I don't understand it. The Quran, I think the Quran is not from anything, brother. Just please help us.
Kareem, what's a nice comment?
Well, you said anything, right? Okay, I'm going to say what I want to say. Your prophet said, so wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for the killers on the
Kenny,
day of resurrection.
just mute him for a second. Let me vent.
Let
me vent.
Kenny said there is no death penalty for apostasy.
Kenny.
Why are you yelling?
You see how I got him busted? You see how I got him busted? Now let's show the hadith that they didn't want me to read. I snuck in the last part of the hadith. The hadith they claim David Wood did a video about, and even if David Wood did do a video about the hadith I've read, good job for David Wood. Nobody is saying that two Christians can't bring up the same point. We represent the same faith, just like they bring up the same points that other Muslims bring up about Christianity when they trying to make a point. I don't see a problem with that. So let's show you now the hadith in whole that they didn't want me to read. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. This is the hadith that they did not want me to read because it gets them busted from the last time that I was on their show when Kenny Bomer was trying to lie and say that the only time when there is apostasy in Islam is during a time of war, which is a lie for so many reasons. And Kenny Bomer is always trying to convince his audience that Islam is a religion of peace and there is no compulsion in religion. All lies, lies, lies. Islam promotes killing and violence. And we're about to read this hadith to prove to you exactly what I'm saying. Narrated Ali. I heard the Prophet saying, in the last days of the world, there will appear young people with foolish thoughts and ideas. They will give good talks, but they will go out of Islam as an arrow goes out of its game. Their faith will not exceed their throats. So wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for their killers on the day of resurrection. This is what Kenny Bomer did not want me to say. Let's read it again. So wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for their killers on the day of resurrection. If this is not terrorism, then what is it? This is the same thing that ISIS does. But they say there is no compulsion in religion. They say Islam is a religion of peace. Kenny Bomer said that the only time that there is a death penalty for apostasy is during a time of war. Does this hadith sound like a time of war? No, it doesn't. Their prophet plainly says to kill whoever leaves Islam. Find them. So wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for their killers on the day of resurrection. So when it says, so wherever you find them, that means that even if Kenny lives in the United States, he lives in Houston, Texas, he's a Muslim. So that means that in order for him to be a good Muslim and to follow the orders of his prophet, he is supposed to kill a person who leaves Islam, even if he find one of them who left Islam in Houston, Texas. He is supposed to kill them like this hadith says. It says, so wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for their killers on the day of resurrection. It doesn't say think about killing them and decide whether or not you want to kill them. It says, wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for their killers on the day of resurrection. And this is why they did not, I repeat, this is why they did not want me to read this hadith in its entirety, because everything they say about Islam being about peace, there is no compulsion in religion, they would have to throw all of that out of the window. That's why they kept muting me. Now the cat is out of the bag. Now let's go back to the video. Cat is out of the bag now.
Why are you yelling?
Brother Kenny, I'm not sure, and you know, the old me would have said he was similar to a cyborg, someone who can literally think of new thoughts. He's only
Notice he kept saying a cyborg as if it's a bad thing. But watch how I get him busted. Watch how I get him busted.
program. This is unreal. This is literally unreal. But I feel for him, and maybe I'll call him. I'll call him outside of this because I want to show him that, hey, if you dislike Islam and you say at least that you can be friends with Muslims and you just dislike Islam, fine. Let's call. Let's talk. But how is it that you're just stuck on this issue? Make the point later. Just let's do something real. The people will appreciate a real conversation because, you know, we're not understanding what's going on here. Are we dreaming? Are we in the Matrix? Are we talking to a cyborg? Why are you not able to answer a question when you obviously think about Islam all the time? What's your biggest issue? Please, brother, proceed.
Well, watch this. You just mentioned cyborgs, but earlier Kenny was like, angels don't have a free will. But in Islam, you say there is no compulsion in religion.
Islam. Please pronounce it correctly, please.
How is this true that there is no compulsion in religion if angels don't have a free will?
Let me help him. I'm gonna push the conversation along. Brother Jacob, what's the most important part of Christianity?
There is no compulsion in religion. If angels don't have a free will yet, they are forced to worship.
Let's deal with your faith. Let's deal with your faith.
There is no compulsion in religion.
Okay.
So do y'all see how I got them busted? You see how clever that was? You see how I turned the tables on what Kareem was saying? I got them busted. Okay? What the Muslim claim is they always like to say that there is no compulsion in religion. And when they use that verse, they are doing it deceptively because that verse was abrogated. They just do that because if you don't know Islam, they can deceive you by using that verse. But let that be like as it is. That's fine. I'm just showing them that even though they were being deceptive, saying no compulsion in religion, I got them busted when Kareem kept saying cyborg and program. I showed him how his little ridiculing me, how it backfired on him because they say no compulsion in religion, but the angels of Allah are cyborgs. They are robots. They automated robots that don't have a free will. And only thing they do is worship Allah and carry out the orders of Allah. They don't have a free will. So that's a whole video topic in itself that I won't do in this video, but I'll do it in another video, showing how that in itself shows that Allah cannot be the God of all justice like one of his 99 names. Because how can he create beings that don't have a free will? How can he make slave robots, angels who don't have a free will? But these same Muslims will tell you there is no compulsion in religion. If that's the case, then angels would have a choice whether to be Muslim or not, but they didn't have a choice. So that in itself is compulsion in religion. They were created to just be Worshippers of Allah with no choice. If that's not compulsion, then what is? Compulsion means somebody is forcing you to do something. These angels were created by what? The power, the force of Allah. So they are forced by every sense of the word to worship Allah with no free will about it. So that's compulsion in religion. So this is what I want y'all to learn. Whenever a Muslim tells you no compulsion in religion, say this to them. Ask them this. Say, then what about the angels? The angels of Allah don't have a free will. Only thing they can do is worship. Only thing they can do is be Muslims. They can't choose not to be Muslims. So that's compulsion in religion. So that's what you say to Muslims, and that's how you get them busted. Also, you can get them busted like this. When Muhammad was in the cave of Hira, the angel or that demon came and it squeezed him 3 times and it forced him to read. It was compulsing him. That's compulsion in religion. It was forcing him, squeezing him and saying, read, read. It was using violence to get Muhammad to do a thing. So that is force and compulsion in religion. Busted, busted, busted.
We got you. We got you. You made your point loud and clear. You've converted many.
Yourself.
Brother Jacob, let's get to let's get Mindy in here. I want Mindy and him to go head to head because I can't do this.
That would be very nice, actually.
He's arguing that because angels are soldiers of Allah, and I say soldiers of Allah, meaning that they do the will of Allah, and they don't compromise. They don't ask Allah questions. They don't reject Allah. They don't rebel against Allah. And so he's trying to say that I've been.
They don't rebel, they don't compromise, they don't ask questions because they are robots. The same thing that Kareem was trying to accuse me of, saying cyborg this and that. They are robots. That's exactly what it is. There's no way out of it. The angels of Allah are robots. Simple as that.
Because I made such a proclamation, because angels don't have a free will. Well, indeed, from an Islamic standpoint, angels don't have a free will. They wasn't created to have a free will.
He just saying it himself. Don't y'all hear him? He's doing the work for me. He's saying out of his mouth, angels don't have a free will, so therefore they are robots. It's just like your light switch in your bathroom. Your light bulb doesn't have a free will. You hit the light switch, the lights come on. You hit the light switch, you can turn the lights off. The bulb can't sit and argue with you. So the angels of Allah are robot cyborgs, and that means there is compulsion in religion because they don't have a choice. They have to be Muslims. So they can no longer say there is no compulsion in religion.
Okay, we have a free will. We have an ability to choose what direction we want to take. So do the jinn. They choose which direction they want to take.
Another lie Kenny just told. Muslims don't even have a free will. They don't have a free will. Everything in Islam is by the decree of Allah. There's a hadith that states that at the birth of every Muslim, the age at which that Muslim die is written down. All of the deeds that Muslim will do is written down. Also, there is a hadith where Aisha was at a funeral and a child had died, and she said something to the effect of, this child is now with amongst the birds of paradise. But Muhammad corrected her and said, no, Aisha, only if it was written for that child to be amongst the birds of paradise. I'll go into that topic in another video because I don't want this video to be too long-winded, and we will cover that, and we will go back to this video getting Kenny busted about Muslims have free will in Islam. Muslims do not have free will in Islam. Everything in Islam is by the decree of Allah. So they don't have no argument against that, and they don't have any sources to say that a Muslim has a free will. So they will lose that debate all day. And if they want to challenge me on that, we can set that one up. And since it came out of Kenny's mouth, me and Kenny can go head up on that debate, and I will prove him live on his show that Muslims do not have a free will in Islam because everything is by the decree of Allah.
Animals react on instinct, so they don't have a free will. The angels don't have a free will. The jinn have a free will, and we have a free will. What's the how did you get me busted with something like that?
But let's not let him do that because he wants us to go to anything else but a simple question. Let's brother, yes, proceed. But let's eventually bring it back to that question because I won't be able to sleep if he doesn't inform us on why he This is great. I invited him after we said we won't even have him on. Here's a shot. Be a normal person. I'm being nice to him.
This is the last opportunity, and he's ruining it. He's totally ruining it. The only reason I had to come back on is because Kareem's patience. Because I don't have the patience that the brother has. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me that patience.
Kenny, can I say something, please?
Yeah.
See the sign I'm holding up? It's saying you busted yourself. Because Kareem got himself busted talking about that cyborg. And I proved that the angels of Allah are robot cyborgs. And he was trying to accuse me of being a cyborg and and that I was operating off the program of what David Wood was saying and that I couldn't think for myself. But I proved how the angels of Allah can't think for themselves. So he got to, I guess, make a mockery of the angels of Allah as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
First of all, I'm going to say something funny, but it's actually real. Last night, I was watching a very, very old movie of 1964 of the Zulus. Did you catch the joke? And look what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Now you see the white little Muslim, I think he's a Greek, I think he's from Greece. He makes a racial comment about the Zulus. So he sees that I'm a black person. And Mustafa, the last time I was on his panel, he called me a gorilla, said I was acting like a gorilla. So as you see, Kenny Bomer also allows racism on his show. But that's all good because I have a lot of shows lined up. We're going to go into the history of racism in Islam. We're going to show you the quotes of respected Muslim scholars and historians who made very, very racial comments about black people. We're going to show you the racism that Muhammad had. We're going to show you the history of racism in Islam. We're going to break down the slavery of Islam, the Muslim slaves trade. We're going to show you how Muhammad had sex slaves. We're going to show you all of that, but we'll get to all of that. But let's just finish this out.
You remember the movie, if you've watched it. It's a true story, by the way. So, anyway, that's point number one. Point number two. This dude that you mentioned with the headpiece, by the way, this is a professional, whatever you want to call it, microphone, headpiece. It's used for me to be able to speak to you loud and clear through my microphone. And at the same time, whatever comes through here, you can't hear, so it won't bother you. This is also for gaming, but it's used for everything else. So that's another point of view. In case you're not aware, most of us here, as far as I've understood, are reverts. I myself used to be a Catholic, and I came to Islam. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah.
Let's fast forward past all that because it's just a bunch of filler, no substance to what he's saying.
He says, but then he comes and complains here about disparaging remarks. Yes.
Okay, brother, issue those four challenges to him again.
So, can you please confirm if you can hear me?
Okay, this is the part where the white Arab Greek dude, I don't know if he's Arab or not, but the white dude with the headphones on, he was issuing me a challenge and he was giving me like 4 different topic points that he was willing to debate me on, which he will never do, because after him seeing me and my performance on this particular panel, he would never debate me because he already knows what time it is. None of them will debate me in a fair debate because Kenny knows what time it is. Kareem knows what time it is. Mustafa knows what time it is. They not foolish. Trust me. They not foolish.
Can you hear him?
Yes, I hear him.
Okay, very good. I'm
Tell me now. If you don't lower that piece of paper, I'm going to kick you out of this platform. You have about 10 seconds to do it.
And this is when I really get heated. I admit I got heated at this point because I was holding up the sign coward in my house and Kenny trying to tell me what I can and can't not do, what I can and I can't do in my house where I pay the bills at. Now watch how things turn up at this point.
Brother, he's just proving Islam is the answer. Let him do it. Let him do it. He's proving how sensible Islam is and how insane other people have become.
I will
This
tell
is
you.
my house.
I will tell you.
My house, bitch.
I will
You're
tell
not
you.
telling me what to do in my house.
time out, please.
This is my house.
Kick him out. Kick him out. Kick him out. He's using foul words.
Time out, please. I think he wants you to kick him.
My house.
Kenny, kick him out. He's using foul words.
Thank
You
you.
ain't gonna tell me what to do in my house.
Let him go. Let him go.
Before you do.
At this point, Kenny was telling me to put the sign down that said cowards and that if I didn't, that he was going to kick me out. And I'm like, so what? Kick me out. I don't care. I don't care if Kenny don't let me come on his show. Who is Kenny Bomer? Kenny Bomer is a nobody. Kenny Bomer is not a known person on YouTube for Islam. Kenny Bomer is, he has very little knowledge about the Bible, very little knowledge about Islam. Kenny Bomer can't beat me in a debate on Islam and Christianity. Kenny Bomer would never debate me. Kareem will never debate me. Mustafa would never debate me. I would whip them on any topic because Islam is too easy to refute. The dude with the headphones couldn't defeat me in a debate on Islam. Islam is so easy to defeat. Come on, like he's threatening me that he's gonna put me out of the room like I give a care.
Near your house.
Let him go. Let him go. This is a true.
And this is what they was wanting to happen anyway. Kenny was looking for a way, the easy way out, because he didn't want to deal with me. So he's trying to create arguments and trying to, create a diversion to get me so he can have a reason to say, you see, Jacob can't control himself, so we're going to have to kick him out. That's not why he wanted me off the panel. He wanted me off the panel because of the things that I was saying. As you see, he's barely allowing me to speak because he's so afraid of what will come out of my mouth next. Everybody can see this, plain as day. They the ones that's getting busted and embarrassed. They haven't said not one point, as you have seen, that have shooken me or had me confounded. Not one single point.
Example of what David Wood's production is. These are the fruits of David Wood and people like him. Let him go. This could be titled, this segment, David Wood follower of Kenny Bomer.
He won't kick me out so he don't have to engage me. So we can have an excuse.
Engage a child. You're acting like
This is Marvel. I pay bills just like you pay bills in the United States.
You have no
This ain't no Sharia over here.
What you did do?
Before he goes.
You did
Take it to another level, bro.
But you did put that paper
You
down.
take it to a whole nother level.
Look, let him go. Let him go. Just let him go there.
Absolutely.
Before he goes, can I give him my challenges? Is that okay?
Yeah.
As an ex-Christian who came to Islam in the year 2006, I am challenging you on any debate that you want to discuss from these 4 topics. Topic number 1.
Why guys just be full? Why have to just be full? Why just gotta be full?
You see how he's setting up the parameter? Because I'm telling you, they dictators. If he was really confident about his Islam, he would say, I'll challenge you to debate me on any topic in Islam. Why does it have to be four? The four that he chooses and picks. You know why? Because he feels like those four that he say that he has mastered it. Okay? But a true debater like myself, I will debate somebody at the drop of a dime. I don't even have to prepare for the debate. He doesn't have confidence in himself like that. So that's why he said these four premeditated topics that he already had in his mind.
It's a choice of four topics. It's a challenge to you.
It's a choice of four topics. Very good. Perfectly said. I haven't finished. Please do not disrupt me again, okay? I'm being very patient with you. Very patient. Number one, is the Bible the perfect, unchanged, unaltered Word of God? Number two, is Jesus God? Peace be upon him. Number three, was Jesus truly crucified? Peace be upon him, of course. Number four, is Prophet Muhammad still mentioned in the nowadays Bible? Take your pick.
Now, as you see, all four of those topics that he said he challenges me to debate him on are the same four topics that you hear Muslims bringing up all the time. But when they said I brought up something that David Wood brought up, they made a big issue about it. You see how hypocritical they are? Those four issues that he raised are the same old lame topics that Muslims bring up all the time. Hypocrites.
I want to go with the easiest one of all and the most one that even Islam admits. Jesus is God and the Trinity is real. Now, when I answer your question, when I answer your question, to be fair, I want you to answer one of my questions. So it can't just be all of you. Once I answer your question, then I have the opportunity to ask you a question. And I'm gonna ask you a question based on the basics of Islam. I'm not gonna even bring up a hadith. I'm gonna go to the basics of Islam. Now,
but you can't go anywhere else but the basics.
I'll answer your question. Who do you think we think you are? When you first open up the Bible,
you're limited.
It says,
we don't expect anything other than the basics from you.
Are you gonna let me speak?
Go ahead, but we don't expect anything else. Go ahead.
Jesus is God. Jesus is God. And I can show you from the Aramaic Bible where Jesus even said that he was God.
Yeah, I know.
I am the living
God. No. I haven't said anything. Can you mute him for a second? Yeah, can you mute him for a second, Brother Kenny? Right. So he's talking about the Aramaic Bible. Let's just make one thing.
Now here comes Mustafa speaking. Let's fast forward past his part.
With Islam, he can choose whatever it is, but we want to know what is it.
Okay. All right. This is my biggest contention. Now, allow me to speak. I'm gonna show you how Islam does not make sense, and this is my biggest contention. You Muslims say that we as Christians and you as Muslims, we worship the same God, but that's totally false. Because our God has a totally different nature than your God. And one of the biggest things that you Muslims say that don't make sense is when you say that Allah does not enter creation. And from a metaphysical point of view, that does not make sense, even from a scientific point of view. And I'm going to tell you why. Because everything in creation is rooted in the soil of creation, which is the consciousness of God. You cannot separate creation from the consciousness of God because everything springs forth from the consciousness of God. So to say that God cannot enter what comes from out of him, out of his consciousness, is totally felonious. It's like saying a tree doesn't grow forth from the soil. And in this example, the soil represents the consciousness of God. So when you Muslims say that All our
Kenny, 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 can you,
interpretation,
Kenny, can you put him
it
on a
is
mute for a second, Kenny? I'm going to be leaving in 2 minutes,
absolutely
Kenny.
nonsensical
Kenny, I'm
because
going to be.
You see how that demonic Mustafa, when I'm making a good point, he had to blurt in. That's that demon inside of him. Because he knew that my argument was good. He knew it was irrefutable, so he had to say something.
I'm going to be leaving in 2 seconds, brother. I just want to say one thing because I've got to go for my salah. So he said about conscious. Everything comes from the conscious of God. Now here's the fallacy that he's made. Listen to this. He's attributing divine conscious with earthly matters. That's the first problem that he has. Divine.
He's not even making sense. He's not even making sense.
God is divine. God is a spirit according to his Bible, yet his spiritly God, who is supposed to be in the heavens now, somewhere sitting there, he has a conscience that is connected with earth. Now ask yourself this, guys. If everything comes from the earth, which is connected with God, then when you excrete, it goes down on earth as well. Are you saying that conscience comes from God as well? When you excrete as well, an animal.
Doesn't he sound like a kid who hasn't even reached puberty yet? You hear how Mustafa's voice sound? Like he had that high pitched voice. Get some bass in your voice, man, and stop talking like a sissy, little blasphemer. That's why I don't have no respect for Mustafa, because he blasphemed the Holy Spirit. He's going to hell. He's a devil boy. He's just a hellish little boy. As a matter of fact, let's fast forward past that demons part.
It's just gonna talk.
okay, let me respond. Let me respond. First of all, I thought this was between me and Kareem.
Two
I
times.
thought this was between me and Kareem.
Mustafa's about to go. He needs to make his prayer.
Well, let him go. Please let him go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought this was between me and Kareem.
That's twice. Yeah, I told you what to do and you did it.
Kenny, I'll have to leave as well soon. Yeah, Kenny, I'll have to go as well because of Sahur as well, brother.
Okay, brother. All right, assalamu alaikum.
Kenny, I'll have to go as well, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu wa rahmatullah.
Now, can I now let me speak. Let me address what he was saying. Now, this is between me and Kareem. Now, the point I'm making is backed up in the Bible because it's like this, Kareem. You can't have creation existing by itself without being connected to consciousness, because consciousness is what gives life to everything that we do. Take, for instance, your eyes. Everything that you see, Kareem, is being processed in your brain. Okay? So actually, you live inside of your brain because everything that you hear, see, smell, touch is all processed by your senses. Okay? Likewise, God, the creator, everything he sees is processed within his consciousness. So everything that he imagines, everything he creates is brought forth from his consciousness. So to separate him from his consciousness is a total fallacy, because creation cannot exist without being rooted in the soil of the consciousness of the creator. And I have a verse.
Boom. Now, y'all get what I'm saying? Now let me explain what I was saying, because the sound is not so good. The quality of the sound is not so good on this video. Basically, what I explained to Kareem is the Muslim position is that Allah does not enter his creation. That totally makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense to say so. Because, like I stated, creation springs forth from the consciousness of the creator. Before there was anything, consciousness existed. The consciousness of God. Before there was the earth, before there was the universe, before there was trees, birds, humans, animals, water, before there was anything, consciousness existed. The consciousness of the creator. Like in the book of Genesis, it says, in the beginning, there was God. God consciousness existed in the beginning. Okay? Now, from that beginning, everything sprang forth when God said, let there be. Everything that came forth after God said, let there be, came forth within the consciousness of the creator, because everything that God sees is processed within his consciousness. So when Muslims say that God can be separated from that God's consciousness can be separated from his creation, it makes absolutely no sense. Like the example that I gave, you can't separate a tree from the soil. That makes absolutely no sense. A tree is rooted in the ground because that's where it grows from. So that's just a metaphor to say that all creation is rooted in the soil of the consciousness of God. It's like this. If God didn't exist, creation can't exist. Creation can't exist in and of itself without